Amazon has agreed to acquire a primary healthcare chain called One Medical. Now, what does it mean to have Amazon get into the healthcare business? That sounds like a question from a healthcare expert. Paul Seegert is back on my Newsmaker line this morning. Paul, always great to talk these topics over with you. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So what do you think, Paul, the impact of Amazon taking over a primary healthcare chain?
Well, the question I always ask when these things come up is, will this be a disruption that leads to advantages for consumers or not? And I think you can look at the difference between Amazon Pharmacy and, say, Mark Cuban's pharmacy and see Amazon's history isn't really to disrupt for more value for the consumer necessarily. Their pharmacy doesn't, you're not getting better pricing necessarily going to Amazon Pharmacy. It's convenient. It serves Amazon's purpose, grows their kind of Amazon flywheel concept and their market share. But they seem to have a history of kind of piling on, and I think that's my expectation of what will happen in the healthcare space.
Paul, isn't it interesting? I mean, Amazon starts to get to know you. They know what books you like, and then they start to know more about what products you like, and then they acquire Whole Foods, and they know what groceries you buy. And now they pick up a healthcare provider. And as you said, I thought it was such an interesting answer you just gave, Paul, where it's like it's more about marketing than saving money. Is it creepy that Amazon knows that much about you?
I'm sure it'll concern folks. I have some concern that they know Amazon. If I'm using Amazon Pharmacy, they'll know my prescriptions. And there's a lot you can back into a lot of information about someone with that information. And then I think a lot of us will be watching our suggested items and see what the algorithm says we should buy next, because of this global access to information that they're going to have. I mean, when you think about comparing Amazon's footprint, 44% of us have an Amazon Prime membership.
Yeah.
And then you compare that to the largest healthcare system in this country, HCA, that serves 1% of Americans. So it's a massive opportunity here that they see, of course. And to this point, healthcare, I mean, there's big hospital chains around the country and so on, but HCA is big at 1%. Healthcare has remained a largely regional business. So we're at the cusp of what will likely be, I'd say potentially, but it seems it's going to happen. They keep making attempts to making this truly a national offering.
And that's it, Paul. You said exactly what was on my mind, which was they know all about my history. So I go into a doctor and he tells me I have high blood pressure, and I start seeing ads in my Amazon feed for, blood pressure supplements and things like that. Right. How does this crisscross with privacy laws? I would assume once Amazon becomes your healthcare provider, you're really giving them permission to market to you, aren't you?
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I think there will be some legal. We're going to cross some new legal boundaries here, and it will be not only with individuals but also with employers. I think part of the attraction that they had to this One Medical opportunity is that Amazon Care, their own virtual care program that they launched kind of during the pandemic to their own employees and a handful of other large employers, they want to get access to employees where they work. One Medical has 8,000 employer clients. So they're picking up some shelf space there in terms of employers. And it's not only going to be information that they have about you that they can market to you individually, but they're going to have, I think, the opportunity to scale up significantly through employers. And we're going to get into some unprecedented territory pretty quickly.
Well, and Paul, it just sounds like the situation we're in now, and when you're saying it probably won't reduce cost for you and me, I feel like that's the situation we're in now, is where healthcare is more marketed toward making it convenient for me than lowering the prices. So you're saying This really changes nothing, right?
Yeah, I think it'll change the way you access things more than it'll change cost. If you look at Amazon, I'm using Amazon Pharmacy as my indicator or kind of where I'm taking the lead on that.
Yeah.
It doesn't drive significant value. I think Amazon learned a lot when they tried to tackle the healthcare problem in partnership with J.P. Morgan and Berkshire Hathaway. These three monster companies were going to fix healthcare and do it for their own, because it was such a massive expense to their own companies. And then potentially, who knows where it would lead. They'd have a product that fixed healthcare that they could market to the world. And they really fell flat on their face with that. And I think my perception is, if you can't beat them, join them, became the direction after that. And Amazon Pharmacy illustrates that, and so on. And not that it isn't innovative to make care more virtual. It is. I mean, not terribly innovative, but it's powerful to do it on scale. Mark Cuban's not the first guy that came up with a cash pharmacy. That's been around for years, but he's Mark Cuban. He can do it on scale. So they have that advantage there. But I don't see it, at least at this point, I don't see much in the way of innovation that leads to efficiency for consumers.
Yeah. Paul Seegert, he's managing partner of PCS Advisors. Paul, thanks for your take on this morning.